Taylor Swift is the only artist in history to have 4 consecutive albums sell over 1 million copies in the US in their week of release. I tell you this because it shows just a glimpse of how popular Taylor Swift's albums are. My name is Lainey Westmoreland, and I have been a fan of Taylor Swift's for many years now, and today I want to talk about my personal ranking of all 10 Taylor Swift albums. If you don't listen to Taylor Swift, and maybe you're curious, maybe you want to get into her music a little bit, I hope that this can be helpful and maybe give you somewhere to start. So starting off at number 10, I have Taylor Swift's debut album, which is called Taylor Swift. This came out in 2006 and is a country album. And I ranked this one last simply because her voice just sounds very young and immature. And it's also the only album where I don't know every single song on this album. But my top 3 favorites are Tim McGraw, Stay Beautiful, and Mary's Song. At number 9, I have Fearless. This came out in 2008, but was re-recorded in 2021, and this is also a country album. And I think this album is really, really great for those teenage years. It's very fairy tale, definitely gives me that young, youthful energy, but it's not my favorite simply for that reason. I don't really resonate with the songs as much as I think I used to. But my top 3 are The Way I Loved You, The Other Side of the Door, and the title track, Fearless. At number 8, I have Evermore. This album came out in 2020, and this is an alternative indie album. And the reason I rank this one kind of low is just because it doesn't feel like a well-rounded album, in the sense that I can't really listen to this album in the middle of summertime. It's very fall, very winter vibes. I think it's kind of more slow and more somber. So it's really great for those seasons, but not so much all year round. My top 3 songs on this album are Champagne Problems, 'Tis the Damn Season, and Happiness. At number 7, I have Speak Now. This album came out in 2010, but was re-recorded and released again in 2023. This is also a country album, and I have this one ranked a little bit lower, simply just because I think her country albums don't resonate with me as much as her pop albums do. So her pop albums are kind of like my top 5, whereas her country are kind of in the bottom half of my ranking. My favorite 3 songs on this album are Last Kiss, Enchanted, and Timeless. And at number 6, I have Red. This came out in 2012, but then was re-released in 2021. And this is also a country pop album, so that's why it sits a little bit lower, just because it is country. But my favorites are All Too Well, the 10-minute version, I Bet You Think About Me, and the title track, Red. At number 5, I have Folklore. This came out in 2020, and it is alternative indie. And I rank this one higher to Evermore, even though it is pretty similar, because this album just feels more cohesive. It feels like an album I can listen to all year round, especially on a rainy day. It's the perfect rainy day album. It also has some of my favorite songs of all time, which is August, The One, and Cardigan. At number 4, I have Lover. This came out in 2019, and this is a pop album. I love this album so much because it's so colorful, as you can probably tell from the cover. It's just very happy, very pastel, and very poppy, which I just love. My favorite songs are Cruel Summer, The Archer, and Death by a Thousand Cuts. At number 3, I have Midnight. This came out in 2022, and this is a synth pop album. And this is one of my favorites because the concept of this album is just so genius. It's basically that idea of things that haunt you in the middle of the night, things that keep you up at night. All the songs are just very reminiscent, and they just resonate with me so much. I just love it. So my favorites are Maroon, Midnight Rain, and The Great War. At number 2, I have Reputation. This came out in 2017, and this is an R&B electro-pop album. Similar to Midnight's, I love this album because the concept is so good. She basically is taking back her reputation. She was really being pinned as the bad guy during this time, so she kind of just owned it. She played the bad guy, and she made it her whole, concept, and it was just genius, and it did so well. So my favorites are Call It What You Want, Getaway Car, and This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. And then at number 1, my favorite Taylor Swift album is 1989. This came out in 2014. It is a pop album, and this is my favorite album because not only does it have some of my favorite songs of all time, but it was also her first pop album, so she was really experimenting with a lot of different sounds and just ideas, and I love the concept of this album. It resonates so much with me. So my favorite songs are Clean, You Are in Love, and This Love. So that is my ranking of all 10 Taylor Swift albums. I hope that this was helpful. If you want to get into her music, I highly recommend. I think she has music for everybody, so I hope that this could be useful to you.